Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome. I am the Crypto Crow, and today we're going to be talking about Solana. We talk about Cardano all the time, and we see the back and forth narratives related to Cardano and Solana. We see a lot of articles all over the internet that talk about, Solana as it's compared to Cardano, and why people are buying Solana instead of Cardano and all of that. Well, I'll have you know, I picked up another 145,000 Cardano today, using some Bitcoin that I've had sitting around, I finally feel pretty solid about my position heading into this bull market. And I'm not 100% where I want to be, but I feel pretty good about it. And, I was browsing around on Twitter, and I'm seeing all of these things develop, all of these things that I was never even aware of. And I know that there's a lot of stuff going on with Solana. Why is there a lot of stuff going on? Well, because there are a lot of influencers all over the place that apparently are significant bag holders of Solana. And then I went because I remember back in the day, I would go and I would do a lot of on-chain analysis of all these different blockchains. And I used to reference the site Into the Block. Now, I know I've done videos in the past where I was referencing on-chain data as it relates to Solana on Into the Block. And it would break down who holds the majority of tokens, how the token distribution is on chain, so forth and so on. Solana's not even there anymore. And I asked on Twitter recently if anyone remembers Solana being on Into the Block. If you do, let me know, because it's not there now. You cannot look up any data on Solana on Into the Block anymore. And I even went to Wayback Machine because I was going to pull up some of the old data. Okay, but that's not there either, because it only works on the homepage, not the app that delivers all of the information. So the screenshots of the pages with a lot of that information from yesteryear is a white page now. And I'm not saying necessarily that Solana's been whitewashed or whatever from Into the Block. I'm just saying that I can't even confirm that Solana was on Into the Block because there's nothing that's been snapshotted outside of the app itself that I can reference. So that really sucks. But I do find it interesting that one of the top blockchains out there is, whether it was there before or not, it's not available. You cannot get that on-chain data from Into the Block anymore. Now, I have my own suspicions, but it is what it is. Now, I'm going to be showing a lot of information, and some of it is very, very interesting. Now, the first thing, we're going to go ahead and jump right into this because I don't want to waste too much time. This is me announcing today that, I picked up another 145,000 Cardano, and then I'm doing this video. I'm recording this right now. This, in my opinion, is a photo that I created that very much represents Solana. And I'm going to show you exactly how and why, because we're going to get into some stuff that you may not even be privy to. Okay. And it's actually pretty eye-opening as I was diving into this. I posted recently on Twitter saying, hey, I'm going to start doing some form of deeper dive into Solana. And so here we are. This is the first thing that I want to point out. This is a video of the Solana founder back in, I can't remember when this was a recent post by Stake with Pride. But this is the Solana founder talking about Cardano as it relates, and this is before Cardano really launched, okay? But this was his thought process on what he thought was going to be the outcome of Cardano, and it really puts things into perspective, everything else I'm going to be showing you.
So I'm going to say Cardano next. And that is because I used to be a Haskell programmer. The approach that they're taking is so extremely esoteric, with such a huge stick up their ass about correctness that this is why they're never going to ship. And it's almost like, they're trying, right? They're trying to build something that is like a cathedral. As an engineer that had to ship code, and get paid for it. It's just that stuff doesn't work. You got to swallow, kiss a couple frogs in your design and ship stuff and just get it done. And
You have to kiss a couple frogs to ship stuff. Basically saying that the methodical approach of Cardano and building its blockchain with a basically a desire for correctness, basically wanting it all to function properly from the start, is a design flaw, and that ultimately you need to just launch a shit product and then see what you can do about it later in order to find success in the crypto space. Is basically my take from what he just said. And I find that really interesting because that was exactly their approach. Similar to Ethereum. You throw a whole bunch of shit to the wall, see what sticks, fix the problems as possible down the line, but at least you're first to market. And so we're going to dive into some of this, and we're going to figure out how is that working out for Solana and why. Now, engineers from across the ecosystem are investigating an outage on mainnet beta. This thread will be updated as more information becomes available. This was recently on February 6th. It had 1.5 million views. This is basically them saying that their mainnet crashed. It was down for about 5 freaking hours. Not only that, but I saw reports of their Solana phone being down as well because the Solana phone was running on the Solana blockchain. That was down for 5 hours. Now, this here is an article, restarting the blockchain is a security issue. This is a really long article. I'm not going big deep into this, but basically it breaks down all the reasons why, Solana and the narrative related to Solana is kind of crap. And that the idea that anyone would trust Solana with anything significant is kind of out of their mind, because every time these issues arise, it leaves significant security issues on that blockchain, having to restart nodes, having to restart everything. And when everything comes down, they have to get all of the validators on point to be able to restart everything. I mean, it's such a, I mean, is that just a frog? Is that just kissing a frog? I don't think so. I think it's a much bigger deal than just kissing a few frogs. And in its conclusion here, the reality is that Cardano is one of the few blockchains that has never needed a network restart requiring operator coordination, never had a long-term outage in block production, and never had a blockchain rollback. Cardano has a single client implementation, but this implementation is built as a mission critical system. It's built as mission critical systems are required. So it's basically saying that, listen, Cardano has taken a bit longer for it to reach the different milestones and such associated with it. But once it's done, it's done. They're not having to go back and try to resolve all these issues in hindsight. Now, before I actually dive into that, I'm gonna go into this. This is my trading view chart for Solana, and this pinpoints a lot of the issues that have plagued Solana ultimately since inception. Okay, so basically right now, recently on the 6th here, this shows February 5th, but this is a big Solana crash, right? And if we go back here, you'll see Monday, February 20th, the cluster was unstable. Public endpoints were offline. Degraded performance, mainnet beta crash, degraded performance over a period of days, degraded performance over a larger period of days. That was as it was in a downpour. Several RPC nodes went down. A mainnet beta clock drift, which was basically like a reason I think for a lot of these just issue after issue after issue. Public endpoints down again, networks unstable, degrading performance. And yet, in the midst of all of this, you see the prices, they were coming down. This was in 2022. You know what I mean? This is all bear market activity. And the thing is there isn't any record of things that happened prior to that. Right? Because it basically just launched in I think it was 2020. So there's not much record. And I don't even know if they started keeping track of any of this stuff prior to this. Okay. So it's interesting, but these are the market peaks for the most part. Let's see here. May, April. This was supposed to be the market peak, April of 2021, but it continued going up. I'm not sure what this is as it relates to So yeah, I mean, technically speaking, when Bitcoin peaked, the altcoin market peaked after, which took a couple of months. Like, I don't even think Cardano peaked until 2 months after Bitcoin did. So that makes sense. But of course, it was going down, and was having all of these issues. But I'm curious to wonder, how were there none of these issues recorded prior to any of this? And I don't know enough about Solana, or maybe this was because it hadn't officially launched yet. I'm not 100% sure on that. But what I see is that even though that was the case, it's still been rising. Now, it has not been rising as quickly as it did in the previous market cycle. I will say that. It doesn't look to be doing as well. Why is that? Well, a big part of me wonders if it has something to do with FTX and them not doing as much to help the token, if you will. Now, one of the other narratives that I see a lot of are basically the price going up. A lot of people, it seems, are willing to support what I believe to be a far, far inferior blockchain in favor of price going up. They don't care about the technology, the use case, the fundamentals, none of that. They don't care. Any of these big influencers that are out there pushing Solana, it's because they have an abundance of bags and they're used to those bags going up. I think I don't know what's going to happen. Maybe this is going to be a good project to throw money into for no other reason than price go up. But I consider that extremely dangerous given the circumstances of this project. And we're going to go into it a little bit more. So here we're looking at a post. This is Duo9 on Twitter. You saw this chart showing Solana has over $100 billion in stables volume. Turns out it's fake. It's basically wash trading, and 90% of it sourced from 9 wallets on a DEX called Phoenix, aka market makers. How much of Sol is actually fake? This is insane. It's insane. And I don't understand. I'm not even going to pretend to understand every nuance of all of these claims. But I don't know where these charts are being referenced from. Okay. So I want to be fair about that. But I mean, assuming this stuff is real, I can see kind of a watermark on the back, like, they're watermarking the source, but I can't really see it. Then we see this. This is from an article. Note on Solana stablecoin transfer volume methodology. You'll notice when comparing stablecoin transfer volumes across chains, the dollar amount of wallets sending stablecoins, that transfer volume spiked significantly on Solana in the last 2 months. We see that Phoenix order books are accounting for a significant portion of USDC transfer volume, 13 billion plus daily from our internal data, which will be surfacing as part of our application activity. Tab next. Phoenix is a fully on-chain DEX CLOB, central limit order book with instant settlement. As a consequence, all orders, filled or not, appear to be posted on the chain and result in the growth of a significant portion of USDC transfer volumes we are observing in December. This is kind of crazy, folks. And my question is this basically the outlet that these platforms are using to pump Solana's value, especially at times when it needs that pump? Transfer volume from stable coins to top 9 blockchains. This was, let's see, when did this come out? There's a bunch of data here. January 30th of 2024. It's not even 2 weeks old. Number 1, $144 billion for Solana. 117, almost 118 for Ethereum, and then down the chain it goes. Notice Cardano's not on any of those. The data is just proving like what's going on. Now, this here, and this is basically the details. These are the details of all of the data or all of the trigger points I was showing you on the chart. This is all on Solana's website. Okay. So these are all of the different issues: endpoint, explore offline, cluster instability, click forward, October 22 degraded performance, mainnet beta outage, mainnet beta clock drift. I mean, there's all of these issues. Look at all the degraded performance for like 3 months. And yet we're supposed to believe somehow that this is a superior blockchain because it's fast. This is like saying that, like, what was the guy's name that played Bobby's dad, like, if second place is the first loser kind of thing, but he was just a maniac. And that's kind of the sentiment that I see here. Oh, well, Solana goes up in price, so it's a worthwhile investment. Never mind how those prices are going up on a regular basis. None of that matters. Never mind the fact that the network is trash. It shuts down all the time, has to be restarted. Nobody seems to care. But that's basically what all of these little tags are across the price action here in Solana. And even after all of this, we can see it go sideways for a while, starts to pump up, boom, huge crash. It's like there's too much happening. And so it's very damning to me. And this was my thread talking about, anybody seeing Solana on there. Now, this is the thing. Solana airdrop history. This is another part of why I believe Solana gets pumped. It does get pumped because all of these airdrops are just constantly being cranked out. All these airdrops are constantly being cranked out on this blockchain. To me, airdrops are a promotional vehicle, and they're promotional vehicles to basically draw in those who are looking to get something for nothing. But in the grand scheme of things, all they have to do is buy Solana. You get Solana and you get a bunch of these shit coins on top of it. Do some research on what some of these shit coins are worth now. What is the history of what a lot of these airdrop tokens, like, where did they start? Where are they now? I mean, listen, folks, when you boil it all down, you have blockchains that are built for fundamental use cases that actually mean something significant on a global scale for enterprise solutions. Enterprise being major corporations with significant use cases can trust this blockchain to achieve what they want, whether that be in decentralization, security, or otherwise. And when you're comparing Solana to Cardano, or really honestly Solana to just about anything, the juice isn't worth the squeeze, in my opinion. And I don't know all of the little nuances. I mean, some people have been studying Solana and all of the little nuances behind it for years now, so they have a much better grasp than I do. Everything that I understand is what's being put out publicly by different people, okay? I don't know all of the intricate details of this, that, or another thing. The stable coins pumping the value of Solana on this exchange and that exchange, but it's like when I look at the grander picture, I can see how the ecosystem as a whole operates. And to me, it operates as a very flimsy bubble built on hype, hopium, trading of stable coins, wash trading, whatever you want to call it. Okay. I guess all I'm trying to say is I'll stick with what I believe is being developed in a much more methodical fashion, without all of the shadiness, all of the major players that we've seen. I mean, listen, this was Sam Bankman-Fried's number one holding, and I've seen articles, and I don't know where they are anymore, but I've seen articles where they've talked about FTX and its relationship to Solana and what that meant for Solana's price, yada yada yada, and it's just like, it's kind of odd now, given everything that's happened since. And I know that Solana wants to try and distance itself from that relationship, but it benefited significantly from that relationship. And, I'm not saying that the founders, were having tea and crumpets with Sam Bankman-Fried planning any big pumps. I'm not saying that. I have no evidence of that whatsoever. There are always going to be opinions just like mine. I'm always right sometimes. But when I look at the grand picture of everything that I'm seeing as it relates to Solana, and then I put that in conjunction with a lot of the paid marketing articles that I see relevant to Solana or its airdrops and how they're always trying to take a dump on Cardano, what that tells me is you have what I would consider some form of regime trying to establish a false narrative around something that is inadequate. Let's just say that inadequate, even really by its own founders' words. And they're trying to shoot down the potential value of something that is very adequate, very decentralized, very capable. It's just a solid layer one blockchain with use cases the world over that are only going to continue to grow as we move forward into 2024. And so all I'm really doing this video on is that when you see some YouTuber or you see some article and you see somebody out there where they're trying to dump on Cardano in favor of Solana, or they're trying to dump on Cardano and try to get you to look at some other shitcoin that nobody's ever heard of before, that kind of stuff is generally paid articles, or they're articles and content put out by people with much more significant bags of Solana because they bought into the pre-dump hype that was being led by FTX and those relationships. How it got there, I don't know. Where it went, we all know. It dropped like everything else, and it's kind of been struggling a bit to keep up. It's had significant pumps from its $20 all the way up to its $100 mark. But all I'm telling you folks is just to be very wary. I still hold a little bit of Solana, and really, like I said, I bought it by accident. My bot bought it a while back, and I just held on to it. And it's one of those things where at some point I'm probably going to end up swapping it out for more Cardano, to be honest with you. Just the same way I swapped out some Bitcoin for some Cardano today. And I'm happy about that. Is Solana probably going to go up in price from here? Yes. But what I also believe is that when it decides to dump, it's going to dump harder than the majority out there. And I do believe that to some extent, the dumps are going to be controlled. I believe that some of the dumps of Solana are calculated and controlled so that those who hold the bulk of it are gaining the best benefit of holding that. And they know when to get in and out, buy back in, ride it back up. I mean, I'm telling you, it's a cycle. And in my personal opinion, everybody holding Solana, including myself for that matter, are being played. And that's just my grand thing. Now, we'll see where it goes. Maybe they patch all its holes, they fix everything, it stops shutting down, and all of the shady tactics and marketing and everything else come to a slow crawl because its use case is now at a point where it can survive on its own without all of the shady tactics. But to me, I just don't see that happening, because here we are in 2024 and the whole network shuts down for 5 hours and everybody's just like, we're still working on it, but we just don't know how or why this is happening. That's what happens when you throw a bunch of shit to the wall and you can't tell what stinks. So until next time, guys, crow your coins, and I'll see you soon.